Meeting expectations is a direct path to extinction as far as I'm concerned. Is when we exceed expectations, we create moments for somebody, even if it's just for a few seconds out of their day, that they're going to remember. And if they remember it to the point and it feels good enough to them to the point that they're telling somebody else about it, we've just moved the needle forward. New York Times, every lobbyist, every insurance industry lobbyist, every transportation lobbyist painted us as a company that panders to outlaw bikers, thugs, drug runners, rapists, and killers, and literally all of that is in print. Now the single most respected motorized transportation company in the world, the strongest brand serving any industry, the only brand in the world the customers love to the point that they tattoo the name onto their bodies. What do we want people to say about us, and what are we willing to do to get them to say it? At the end of the day, that's the Magic Elixir. No human being in the history of the world has ever told a story about his or her expectations being met. Your expectations are met thousands of times a week. You've never told one person about when you went to the dry cleaners to pick up your clothes, and there they were, all ready to go. It just doesn't happen. We need to do things for people at a human level to give them pause or give them a reason to talk about us. Found this place that welcomes 25 people at a time. 36 hours of travel time from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 16,000 miles, 8-hour layover in Qatar to arrive at the Maldives. You look over, there's a guy walking toward us on the beach. He's got a big turban on, his hair's up in a turban, he's got a thick black beard, he's obviously Indian. What's really throwing me is the shirt that he's wearing. And the shirt that he's wearing says Harley Davidson Sturgis 2012. And if you don't know what Harley Davidson Sturgis 2012 is, that's Harley Davidson Sturgis 2012 motorcycle rally in the Black Hills of South Dakota that I had just left. 36 hours of travel, 16,000 miles to get away from anybody or anything that even remotely reminds me of work, to run into somebody that just came from the exact same spot on an island that has 25 visitors on it. So I walk up to him and said, there's absolutely no way that you were in Sturgis. And the reason that I said that is, one, not just because I'm so shocked to run into somebody who was also in South Dakota, but what's blowing my mind is the fact that he's Indian. Up until less than 2 years ago, Harley Davidson had zero presence in India. Not $1 of revenue had come out of India in 108 years of Harley's business. There are 4 dealerships in India now that are serving 1.4 billion people. Those dealerships had been open less than 3 months prior to my running into this guy in the Maldives that's wearing this shirt. I said, tell me what happened. He said, well, he goes, I'm a metal bender. I do decorative metalworking. I've got a shop in Bangalore. I do pretty well. Myself and 7 other guys, we've been friends since childhood. We always talked about the one dream that we had was that one day we would go and ride motorcycles in the American West. And we wanted that ride to end at this motorcycle rally in South Dakota that we've seen promoted in Bike Magazine. So we found a dealer that would agree to rent us 8 motorcycles, and we all flew over. This was our first trip to America. We all flew over to Boise, Idaho. He said, so everywhere that we went, everybody reacted to us. Like, what are you guys doing here? This is awesome. How'd you get here? And they wanted to hear our story, and they loved the fact that we came over, we're riding Harleys, and wanted to see America. We went up through Idaho and into Montana and Wyoming, and it's just as spectacular as we wanted it to be. Every gas station, every restaurant that we went to, people would come up and want to hear our stories. And if you've ever been out in the American West, especially up in the Northwest, the last week of August, any year that you've been alive, this has been happening for 74 years, there's thousands of bikes headed toward South Dakota. So seeing bikes, not at all unusual. Seeing 8 Indians on bikes, very unusual. So by the time we reach Sturgis, there's 400,000 bikers there. This thing's going 24 hours a day. It's the most amazing thing we've ever seen. Hundreds of thousands of bikes. We got to meet the Davidsons the first day that we were there, because I've got their name tattooed on my arm, and there I'm actually shaking hands with the guys whose family started this business. It was so cool. I got to meet the daughter, Karen Davidson. She's the one who designs all the clothes. My wife wears the clothes. It was so awesome. 3 of the guys are engineers. They got together with Harley engineers and just did, engineered talk for hours about math and bending metal and tension and all that stuff that engineers talk about. Absolutely blow our mind. I got to talk to people that weld bikes. I'm a metal bender. They're telling me about the equipment they use. They're inviting me to come into the factory in York, Pennsylvania and watch them do it. It was just so amazing. So what have you done since we spent, 10 days on the beach together 4 months ago? We said, we started a riding club in Bangor. I started the club. We got 154 members now. And all you need to do to become a member of the club is you have to buy a Harley Davidson motorcycle. The ground floor minimum cost in India is $50,000. And that's not a rich country. We got 156 members. I said, of all those 156 bikes, how many do you think that you've personally sold? And he said, 155. He was kidding, obviously, but I thought about it. I said, what if he sold 10% of that? If he sold 5% of that, what's that worth? What's he worth as a passionate, engaged, and delighted storyteller? When he told the story, did he ever talk about the product? One time. The expected part, the dealio, the two wheels, the motor, and the seat, and the set of handlebars. We did not discuss the product because he knows I know about the product. That's the secret language. When he told the story to me, as he repeated to all these other people in India that now felt the need to go out and buy a motorcycle, as he talked about the three elements that are apparent in every story that's ever been told in the history of the world that was worth listening to. We talked about people, experiences, and how those people and experiences made him feel about himself. That is what a story is. That's what a story does. That's how demand gets built. What is that person saying about you today? They're going to talk about you by name. It's a human vision, legacy we want to leave behind us.